Hey, this is Michael Lindsay from Vital MX, and this is our 2022 450 roundtable for our shootout. We're going to break these videos up. If you're watching this intro, this might be for the Honda, the Cowie, the Suzuki, the Yamaha, etc. But we have one on each bike because, man, they would be too long to sit down and play through at once. So whatever bike one you're about to watch, check it out. And if you want, check out the others as well to learn everything from this year's shootout. I think that's where the last bike in the shootout falls, the poor Suzuki 450, and it hasn't changed since 18. It's not going to be a surprise every year that it's going to finish the same. It's not, once again, it's not negative. The Suzuki has been, for some people, I'll start off, it's been a good buy. It's been regularly been on great rebate sale. It's the same basic construction of the engine forever. It's super durable. It has its positive points, but when we're sitting down here again, it's solid point there. Everybody will say about Suzuki. It turns in great. It's super planned on the front. It steers amazing. But all the other characters of it, I'm not saying, it's got, we'll talk about it. There's other good characters about it, but it's like, it's just a little bit worse than everything else. And at the end of the day, we're ranking them out. None of us can lie through our teeth and try to make it feel better. It's going to end up there. It's not a bash fest. Again, I know plenty of people that bought these bikes and like them. I know plenty of people that have done a couple of things, like them and have a good time. And I can't knock for it. I can't tell them their face, oh, well, you're crazy. No, I understand why they get to that point. So just getting the disclaimer out of the way. It's last, but we're not saying you shouldn't go get one.
Well, typically even on the number one bike and number two bike, you're going to make changes to it. They're all going to cost money on top of what you spent. So if you're going to do that anyway, and you start with one that's lesser to get it set up for you, and you're a weekend warrior, maybe once, twice a month, not trying to win a outdoor national on it, then
when I've seen it, when you have dealerships selling the KTM and Husky, you're asking for 10.5, 10.8, 11 grand for these things out the door. And I've seen the Suzuki out the door for mid sevens, high eights and stuff. If you've got a really good road job, maybe that's not a big deal to you. But for some people, they're just like, hey, I just ride on the weekends. I'm on a budget. I want a new motorcycle. It's not that much. That's where some of the bikes we prefer on top end up used on price. It can be a good buy.
Suzuki's go by me.
Same.
So
Trust me, same. I saw one at Glen Helen on Thursday. Mumford blew my doors off. Trust me, it can go fast.
Yes.
Well, and it's funny too. We're spoiled with all the different tracks we have to ride, and there's lots of different styles and all that stuff. But for me, the Suzuki works best when things are smooth, maybe a little jumpier, more tight, not as fast.
Paris, State Fair, your man-made little tight track.
And even when I go to Fox, I ride the vet track. So that's these, and when it's fresh early on in the day, the Suzuki works well. And if where you live, if your track is mainly like that, you might be okay with that.
Yeah. Bowl corners, your insides, they don't really have a rut. They're super shallow. Once again, that front end is so planted on the bike. The rut can be this freaking deep, and it's going to stay with it. But we get out to GH, get out to the sand tracks, the roughness. The chassis is rigid. They've never really, because they've never updated the suspension. It's still harsh. It's unbalanced. This year, we're going to be super honest about it. It's all the bikes here, they're supplied to us by the OEM. Suzuki didn't send a technician out to help us, so we were just kind of on our own. Pretty much everybody in this group has done shootout before, except for Jacob. So I have all my past notes to go off of. Yep. I've tried the things I would normally try, and I just kind of end up at the same conclusion. I can make positives, I can make inroads on it, but I never could get fork or shock to where I'm happy with it. I think the BFRC is super active and just soft in places. The fork is harsh on the front end. I never can get the front end to where I feel comfortable charging on something. Yeah. Like I said, the positives, we can talk forever about Suzuki handling, but something I actually do enjoy, this is a very split opinion for me on the motor. The motor I feel like has good torque, good response. It can be playful to jump out of the corners and stuff. But it also has an old school four-stroke feel to me. It's a very heavier feeling, chuggy character, which is cool. Once again, guys that want to just really roll off the bottom. It's got a great chug character. It picks up. It feels like a tractor. Once again, more old school four-stroke-ish. But on D-cell, it's not a very free feeling engine. I think that's part of why the front's so planned is it's got a little more engine braking. You feel it lean over a little more. Once again, it's just not a bike that I charge super deep into sections on.
Yeah, I hopped on the 450 at Glen Helen, and To be honest, I liked the power. I liked how it pulled through all the gears, going up some of the hills. Did not seem to hesitate, and like you said, just kind of chugged. Like it never really was struggling, but I never felt like it was trying to rip out of my hands either. The suspension, with it being so outdated and not up to date like the new ones, it just had a very, in my opinion, a violent feel when you would come into a corner or a high speed, and like you said, you go to let off. Like it was very reactive, like a quick reaction. In the tight sections, no problem. I really didn't have a problem with the suspension. It was always under high speed.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with pretty much everything there. I mean, trying to get the setup right. I mean, everything I'm trying to do to that bike is to make it more comfortable, just to get some comfort, calm it down. And, with the suspension, you get to a certain point that you soften it up so much, then it's just too soft and you're blowing through, but it's still not very comfortable.
The Suzuki is the bike that, like, if you have the suspension done, is going to be the biggest night and day difference. You know what's really weird to say is, like, I think, and I feel bad because people always say in shootouts, like, because everybody will at some point say it, well, you still have to kick it. Yes, I do love that every bike is electric start because I have short legs and I hate being on a hillside, whatever. It's not end breaker. I'm so used to every bike being electric start. I got on the Suzuki. Yes, I had to kick it. At one point, I'm like, I wish it was a bun, but it's also not like the end of the world for me.
And it starts easy. It's not like an old school 450 that was like.
And you don't have to worry about a battery. If you're a woods rider, trails rider, or someone, you don't have to worry about being stranded somewhere. You can always kick it.
Hey,
unless you hurt your leg.
I will say my KTM, some of the wires went bad the other day, and I couldn't ride because I couldn't get the bike started. So, if you have a Kickstarter,
simpler might be
I
better.
literally looked down. I was like, I wish I had a Kickstarter. So,
You always kick it with the RM Army.
That's right. That's right.
At the end of the day, like I said, you can read our shot, everybody's comments since 2018 on. You'll get a pretty quick impression of what this bike is all about. Thank you guys all for tuning in and listening to this. Like I said, that's why we do all this. There's a lot of information on each bike here. You can break it down, listen to the bike you're interested in, maybe even ones that you've been on the fence about, go through everything we said. Like I said, we put these out in multiple formats. If you're here, you've probably watched the short and sweet version we already did that was a lot quicker than this. And then if you want to learn more, me and Sean have talked about a lot about horsepower, weights, a lot of those figures. We have an article up on the website you can check out. Should be a link in the bio below. If you're the old school guy and you just want to read all this and not listen to us talk forever on YouTube, that route also works as well. But we'll be kicking off 250 Shootout here in a couple weeks, so stay tuned for more. And thanks for listening.